You're welcome back to Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis show. It's brought to you by kindly sponsorship of Falcon Properties. And Falcon Properties is at it again, and they're announcing to you that you can buy a plot of land 70 by 100 for only 4,500 and a half plot for only 2,500 Ghana cedis at Afenya. The land is secured, it is litigation free, there's close proximity to electricity and water, well demarcated roads also there. So, but this huge promotion is running until the end of July. So visit the Falcon Properties so that you can participate in it. Now, they do site visits on Saturdays, 8 a.m. Converging point is at Afenya Junction leading to Dodoa. So all you need to do is just move towards that place and they will take you to the property so you can have a look at it for yourself. You can call Falcon Properties on 0302 902591 or 0302 902592 or 0249 315 621 or 0249 315 652. You can visit falconproperties.com. Also, are you an internet freak? Do you love to chat with your friends and family? Well, now you can plug into unlimited internet on MTN and enjoy your freedom on the go. Enjoy these unlimited, downloads anywhere, anytime at amazing speed. All you need to do is to dial *138 *138 *1 *138 *1 to choose your unlimited bundle. Unleash unlimited potential, unlimited possibilities with MTN Unlimited Internet offer. Terms and conditions apply. MTN, welcome to the new world. And you're welcome back to the show. Your views and comments are still welcome. We're going to share some of them with the rest of the world. And Larry is asking a question. He says, "Hi, Samson. Have we as a people considered the fact that in the developed countries, people do as much as 3 jobs a day to survive, but the Ghanaian wants to do a single government job and be able to feed his family of 7 with 5 school-going kids, pay rent, build a house, medical bills, and take care of extended family? We must be magicians." You put it so nicely and well. Now, before we talk about the Cedi, can we look at this aspect briefly? There is an attempt to be able to, win off some of the agencies and the government, which are able to generate some sufficient, internally generated funds to take care of themselves, win them off government, so that they may take upon themselves maybe the attitude of some semi-private entity kind of, and then it will help them to be able to work well, and be able to generate and support the economy. That's obviously should be a good idea, isn't it?
Well, it should be. It's very obvious that government is overloaded in terms of expenditure, so that any opportunity that will lessen the load on government should be welcome.
Right.
What I think also is that this ought to be done with some checks, because we must be sure that, though semi-independently it may be, there are checks to ensure that there are no deals that will, in the end, derail the very existence of those institutions.
Right.
Yeah, but what you see, I find it interesting, the observation made in the report. This is it page 13?
Okay.
Is this another major proposal was the win of subvented organizations from GOG payroll.
Right.
This is a policy initiative that must be considered within a broader frame. More specifically, and this is the key area, some of these subvented organizations raise internally generated funds through certain services rendered at prices below the market rate, and therefore taking them off government subventions would imply charging economic or market rates for their services. This may have wider social and political economy implications that must be considered in any action eventually taken by the government. There's a tightrope to walk there.
Right. There's supposed to be, there's a call for a long-term investment for the energy sector, especially electricity, so that we can have regular supply of electricity. I'm thinking, how do we separate that from, for example, the government or the NDC's policy of energy for all by 2016? And curiously, coincidentally, I've also stumbled on this report about the Millennium accounts, the compact. There's one that's just been approved by Parliament, a facility that's just been approved by Parliament before they rose. And I'm looking at the document in detail, and it appears that a condition precedent for assessing the loan is to privatize electricity in Ghana.
Well, some of us, and our party particularly, we've been warning Ghanaians to the real looming danger of where we are with energy. We've been saying, we've been asking whether the paralysis that we are seeing in the energy sector, the inefficiency, the huge inefficiency that we're seeing in the sector, whether that is a prelude to privatization. We're going to make things so difficult for the nation that everybody will welcome privatization. Let us be absolutely clear. And we will seek the support of organized labor, we will seek the support of every aspect of our society to oppose any attempt to privatize, because the trend...
We're looking for regular supply and efficient
we need efficiency. We don't need to privatize these strategic sectors for the sake of, and they try to do with Ghana Commercial Bank, have been tried with ADB. Today they are very successful entities generating and paying to government fund. So I don't think that that is a solution.
But
if somebody somewhere...
we know that sustainable regular power is the way to grow industry in Ghana.
There are ways and means of, and we know the energy sector, we published a comprehensive, we as a party have published a comprehensive way forward on the energy sector. There are different things that we can do with wind power, other things, but specifically on privatization. And I'm surprised that there are many MPs who have sat in Parliament, they've approved this, and they're probably not even sure that what they are approving is the privatization of ECG.
What happens in their last days is that they just rush the bills like that.
But we will oppose it. We will seek the support of the trade unions, organized labor, of students, of anybody who will oppose. So we cannot continue on a path. We cannot continue on a path where either NDC or MPP come and sell strategic assets. At which point are they going to create anything?
Doc,
we keep selling everything we have to fix the economy, and then...
Doc, wouldn't you rather think that if that is what it ought to be, and I'm reading a part of the facility, and conditions precedent to disbursement of compact implementation funding. And one of the conditions is that there ought to be evidence of the government's intent to proceed with an acceptable ECG private sector participation transaction in a form and substance acceptable to the compact. Shouldn't it rather be, the focus rather be, have a national discourse about this and to determine what the people want? Because we have heard over and again that people are willing to pay when there is regular and efficient supply.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you, but that raises a fundamental question, and that question is the extent to which this economy has been dependent on aid, because that is the bottom line. If we are able to go for loans that we really need based on a decision that
conditionalities,
we have this strategic need and we already know that whatever it costs us to get this loan, we can get the dividend out of it, there will be no problem. But where you have an economy which is essentially aid dependent, then these are some of the manifestations that you will get. But by and large, I I don't like the privatization in the liberal context view, but there is a reality that we have to
they call it
confronted
PSP,
with.
private sector participation.
Yes, and that's what I say. So I think when they come out with the policy of this privatization, I'm using that loosely, we need to go deeper into the analysis and find out, first of all, what are the specific energy sources that are being targeted for privatization? Because already, whether you like it or not, there are some aspects of energy sources which are already in private hands.
Okay.
And you have no way of saying that you can't privatize that. Those who use wood fuel, it's a form of private energy. So we need to find out what is the specific source of energy that is being targeted for privatization. The second question that we need to ask and find out is, who are the consumers that are being targeted for privatization? Because if we are able to find out, and I keep saying this, that there is a specific area of the economy that if we leave it into private hands, the profit motive is likely to dampen the growth of that sector.
We tried water, it didn't seem to have worked. Yes. We are back to our old ways in terms of the management of water.
No discussion.
If we had to go this way, and I suspect you may be interested in finding out perhaps why the generality of the Ghanaian populace have not been a part of such a discussion before Parliament would approve anything that seeks to, give electricity into private hands.
Well, that is an old practice, isn't it? Quite a lot of times, Parliament proceeds on basis of lack of public involvement. A few times memoranda gets there and helps, but it's the active civil society groups, the Imanis and the Third World Network, those are the groups that sometimes you hear. There isn't that much of a culture of the public itself getting involved. Maybe radio stations and TV stations highlighting them that the public gets to know. Okay. So it's a difficulty, but I would hesitate to endorse privatization in this general sense. I'm going along what Doc said, specific, target those areas.
I see.
And so that they complement what the public, because of the price levels, we should be looking at whether people can sustain them or not.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about, size of government, I was looking for this document by Imani. They made a certain suggestion. Franklin Kujo, who is the president of Imani, suggests that lands and forestry can be merged with environment and science and technology. You can merge food and agriculture with fisheries ministries. I don't really understand it, food and agriculture and fisheries separately. Then you can merge transports, roads and highways, ministries of chieftaincy with local government. Then you can also merge youth and sports with employment and social welfare. When you do this, you are cutting back on a lot of fuel by V8 officials, who are taking all sorts of salaries and allowances here and there. Yeah.
It's practical. There's no doubt about it. These are the kind of things that should be put forward for interrogation.
Right.
But it creates also a larger bureaucracy, which we then have to find a way of managing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I agree with the issue. But I think Imani, perhaps other people will also need to go further and find out what are the cost implications
of merging them.
Yes. Because in terms of the delay in making decisions, as Kweku said, because once you have a ministry,
Ministry of Agric and Ministry of Fisheries.
Some of them, Ministry of Agric and Fisheries were already.
They used to be one.
It used to be one. Yeah. So what informed the separation, we don't know.
The fishing industry.
You have roads and then you have transport.
Yes.
I mean,
you think?
No. I'm saying that the idea to slim down on the number of ministers is a good idea.
Sure.
Okay? And then Imani has come up with a proposal, which I entirely share, is okay. But I'm just saying that we need to go further
it has implications,
to establish the fact that what will
the president has done one
mean?
Very easily by collapsing the information ministry and then fixing just one person in the now Kweku, but I don't know what you want to say about the cedis slide. Now we are inching 4 cedis to $1, and then I think it's about 6.30 or so to the pound.
That's serious, but as you know, I'm not an expert. I really don't have a solution. But fortunately, we have put people in place who must manage, who pay them for dealing with it. They should exercise some level of fiscal and monetary discipline to ensure that this thing is done well. Some of the erratic policies which they brought in obviously didn't work.
It had unintended consequences.
Yes,
they are not intended.
Created crisis of confidence in the banking system, you know, by their own actions, by the managers, the economic managers. So they ought to take. But see, going through the Senchi thing, I saw something. I find it interesting. Two things actually. It is
very brief with that.
Yeah, it's linked to
the Cedi.
Yeah, that's the currency on page 35.
Right.
It says regulators should be made to make listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange a licensing requirement for all commercial banks, telecommunication companies, insurance companies, and mining companies. This will enable us to improve on the stability of the local currency, as not all profits will be transferred outside the country as dividends. It's linked to the Cedi thing. This is an idea they are pushing. I don't know whether this is also linked to it, but it says, and I find these two I find quite new, too, in my opinion. Bank of Ghana should consider allowing Cocoa Board to directly get involved in the interbank foreign exchange market as a counterparty. These are two novel things. Maybe they've been thought of already by some people, but this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Right. Some people are in such a hurry, they looking for the governor of the Bank of Ghana out of his office, so that we had a report in the course of the week that he had resigned. Then he sent a text message to say, I have not resigned. Do you think he should take the blame for the fall of the Cedi or our inability to arrest its slide?
Well, I think that it's unfortunate such a misleading report came out. I think that he needs to do more. I think also that we Ghanaians also need to do more. There's a certain obsession for foreign currencies, which ought not to be a situation. You go to even smaller hotels, and they are charging in dollars. Very little services are charging in dollars.
Now that is illegal to do.
Yes, of course it is illegal, but what is the practice? Who is enforcing that illegality to ensure that those who have gone contrary to what the law says have been punished? Nobody.
Was
yes. So there is a tacit agreement as to what is happening, even though our law says it is illegal. Now, the point is this. You see, if you have so much cedis chasing other foreign currencies, nobody is interested in the cedi. So what is the wealth holding the cedi? That is why it's just wrong. Why should we import tomatoes from Burkina Faso when we have so much land, vast land, that we can irrigate? We have the UFA there, no employment. I mean, there's so much we can do to ensure that we reduce the amount of imports into this country. Maybe this is the time also we should look at the discussions about the ECO. Because we are isolated here using one currency, no other country is interested in our currency.
But ECO, we have been pursuing that, convergence criteria. It's never been working.
That is so. That's what
one country makes some progress at a point, then it falls back.
I believe that the member countries are not, serious as regards pursuing the matter. But if they are committed and ready to do it, we will have a stronger currency.
As a single unit. Just in a minute, what do you say?
We've talked about the fundamental problem for the depreciation of the cedi, and it's to do with our huge trade imbalance, the deficit we have on trade. So imports is the issue. Now, the Bank of Ghana or even the government have been tinkering around with that, asking hotels not to charge in dollars. Yes, the bigger issue that they need to confront, they are shying away from confronting, and that is to do with our huge balance of trade deficit, is to do with our imports. And we've said, when are you going to do something about imports, or we'll continue to have this slide? You've opened our doors in this open door policy to everything. You've turned our market into a liberalized market so that everything from toothpick, we've all heard the analogy several times. And you're not doing anything about it, and you are expecting You know, and we've heard the jokes. We've heard the jokes about Woes, and we've heard the jokes about, and they need to be serious.
Sometimes maybe your statements could be a bit too sweeping.
No,
Not
I want to get to the core.
Because when you say government is not doing anything about it, I think that's that's inaccurate.
No, I'm saying that the fundamental and which everybody agrees on, I think most economists agree on, is to do with this huge deficit that we keep getting.
Okay.
And so, yes, you can. Government is doing things about, but what I'm saying is they're tinkering with the issues. They're tinkering.
What do you say in a minute about how to attempt to arrest this situation?
Well, I think the announcement already,
because it's part of the reason for the rising cost of living.
Yes, because the way in which the announcement was made, almost impromptu, then the public reacted to that announcement, and that further deepened the problem. I think that one of the steps, in addition to the monitoring that they do, is to come up with a very consistent program of public information on some of the measures that are being put in place and what the situation is. A periodic reporting to let the public know that the situation is not as bad as perceived is very, very critical, because public opinion can actually cause a deterioration of a national currency.
Right.
But
to be fair to the Minister of Finance, I think he outlined 9 measures during the media thing.
Right.
Only time will tell if
they would be effective. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
And let me read from you. Frank Asare Jr. says that heads of department, ministries and agencies are responsible for setting acceptable standards for productivity. Promotion, pay rise, benefits is linked to productivity and general attitude towards work on paper. Practically, it's not the case. Let's accept the urgent need to drastically scale down civil/public service by outsourcing some tasks for effective and optimal use of resources. We've got to undertake thorough analysis whether we still need in-house cleaners, messengers, security guards, caterers, gardeners, carpenters, mechanics, drawing, pension, holidays, and ESBS on the public purse. This way, Frank thinks that we can also cut down. And in fact, the Century Report also takes a look at the need to stop more recruitment into the public service, one issue that has also seen a lot of debate. Thanks for some of your messages. Eric Apa in Cape Coast Polytechnic says, Deputy Ministers practice presenteeism in various ministries and jumping from one radio station to another and drawing hefty salaries at the end of the month while the civil and public servants work. But at the end of their tenure, they go home with ex gratia, while the civil and public servants go home with nothing. Okay, what you mean to say that what they get is not enough. For sanity to prevail at the labor front, the government should bring back Cap 30. Oh, I see you want to go back to that debate. Okay.